The Avengers Endgame hype is real. I am really excited for that movie. And that being said, let the marathon reviews continue! So right now there's a little bit of bad weather going on outside, so if you guys hear a little bit of thunder crackling, it's not a big deal. And to answer some of your guys' questions, if you guys have them, where have my uploads been? Well, I didn't want to make any more videos until I got a new grading system. And before we actually start my 4-movie review in this video, I want to get into what my new grading system is going to be and why I want to do it. Number one, I kind of contradicted myself in a video. I was talking about how Captain Marvel was better than Ant-Man and the Wasp, which, by the way, I completely take that back. Captain Marvel is not as good as Ant-Man and the Wasp. Second of all, I gave it a 6.9 even though I said it's okay. But what would that mean to other viewers who would see it? That I didn't like it. What would a 7 out of 10 mean to someone else? Or what would a 9 out of 10 mean to some? You know what I'm saying? And everybody can have their own definition of how good a film could be by the way I rate it out of 10. And I wanted to make something that was clear and straight to the point from now on. So everybody out there uses letter grades and number grades. I want to make something that's unique to my channel. Let me introduce my new grading system. So first one is tops tier film. You know, I gotta include my name of my channel in there. That's like the best movie I've seen, one of them. Great film, which is pretty much what the title suggests. Good, solid film. And decent film. And now, after it moves down from that, then we get into the bad category, where then it's gonna be bad film, and then not even a film. Now that's gonna be my new grading system from now on, alright? So Avengers Age of Ultron. This movie, I don't know what to think about it. Let's just get into what the plot is. Basically, Tony Stark has a vision shown by him by Scarlet Witch in the movie, and basically, out of fear of what the Earth would be like if the Avengers weren't around, him and Bruce Banner create a computer program named Ultron, and what can go wrong with that? Except he becomes a killer robot and tries to destroy the world. Very generic. Very generic. And, you know, to be quite honest, this film is kind of iffy for people, including me. This movie is definitely not as good as the first one. But I kind of made a harsh statement saying to one of my buddies that it wasn't good. I think it's decent. Like, I don't know. It's like the Marvel doesn't have strong villains until more recent years with Thor Ragnarok or Spider-Man Homecoming or Black Panther or Infinity War. Up until that point, leading up to that, we didn't have strong villains, and this movie definitely reflects that. Ultron is definitely the most generic villain I have seen. It's like a robot gone bad, and no motivation of why he wants to destroy the world. It's just, his villain's really lame, and he also is nothing like the comics. They make him more of like a robot version of Tony Stark, which is an interesting choice and very creative, but I don't think it works for the character of Ultron when you compare him to the comic books. So, the other thing I wanted to say is, that being said, Quicksilver is not that great in this movie. He doesn't get a lot of time to shine, and I feel like that's a big missed opportunity for him since they have him in the MCU, or had him in the MCU. He gets killed in the movie. So, and obviously, Days of Futures Past, Quicksilver is the superior version of Quicksilver. Let's just leave it at that. Scarlet Witch, however, I think she's great in this movie. Every movie after this as well, she nails the role. And also, I think the other thing that was better in this film than in the last film is the dialogue between the Avengers. I feel like that has been improved upon, and I really like that. And you gotta admit, the Hulkbuster versus Hulk fight is amazing. It's really awesome. I love that fight. It's really good stuff for the most part. And all the action scenes are good, to be quite honest. It's just those minor details in there that just keep on shooting out to me, and so many things that confuse me, and so many things that are not good motivations or great character building, and that's unfortunate for this film considering this is the sequel to the first Avengers. Yeah, it's a sequel. Sorry, I got a little bit confused. I was like, did I just say it was a prequel? Avengers Age of Ultron is actually a good, solid film. That's what I would give it. I would give it a good, solid film rating. So next up is AntMan. AntMan is about a guy named Scott Lang. He is arrested by the police. He's a criminal. He's a thief. And Hank Pym sees great opportunity in him for his company's new CEO, who was his former mentee, Darren, or goes by the name of the Yellow Jacket in this movie, decides that he wants to try to weaponize the Ant-Man particle serum. And in order to prevent this from getting out there in the world, Scott Lang has to don the mantle of Ant-Man and stop the Yellow Jacket. This movie is really good. I like Ant-Man a lot. It's very fresh, very humorous. The acting for all the way through is great. I will say that the daughter's acting at times seemed very generic. Like, she didn't believe... It wasn't believable that she was in some of the scenarios that she was in this movie, because her acting was very bland. But that can be expected from quite a few child actors. Or actresses. But that being said, Scott Lang is an extremely likable character. I really enjoy him as the role as Ant-Man, and Hank Pym, oh my gosh, he is great as the previous Ant-Man. And serves as kind of a mentor figure to Scott, which I really like that element of the movie. However, here comes my biggest problem with the movie. It's the villain. This is the most stereotypical villain as well as Ultron that you could have. And like I said, I wouldn't say it's terrible, but the MCU movies did have a problem with this in the very beginning. They did not have strong villains. And Ant-Man also reflected that, just like Age of Ultron. But nonetheless, that didn't take away from my enjoyment of the film. I really like Ant-Man. Very good movie, very good acting. Villain, ill, get him away. But other than that, Ant-Man, I would say, is a great film. That's what I'm rating it, a great film. Next is Captain America Civil War, which also was a follow-up to the end credit scene of Ant-Man, because Ant-Man was going to be in Civil War. So that was awesome. Captain America Civil War is about the government decides to put the Avengers in check. People die when they're quote-unquote saving the world. And they want them to put them in check, and they have them sign these accords that would grant them full access and power over the Avengers. Tony is for them because he feels like they need to be in check, which is, come on Tony, you made Ultron, how irresponsible. Anyways, if anybody needs to be put in check, it's Tony Stark. And then on the other hand, Cap argues that what if they need to be somewhere and they can't be there because the government says no. So this causes the team to split apart and go into a civil war of their own. This movie was also good, but it has some major issues. Mostly, it is extremely similar to Batman vs. Superman. Government officials get blown up, just like in Batman vs. Superman. Mothers play a role for superhero clash, or mothers just play a role in general, just like in Batman vs. Superman. Superheroes fighting. And not to mention, a non-superhero powered villain who manipulates everything in the situation to make it all his master plan, which was Lex Luthor in Batman vs. Superman. And that kind of irritates me a little bit. It is what it is. But overall, the main highlight of this film is the action. The action is amazing in this film. The acting is also good. But the story, I felt it was very weak, and it could have been worked on a little bit more. But other than that, if you really want to watch a good, fun movie where you just want to watch action, this is the movie. This has all the action, all the funny scenes in here, and it is just a fun ride all the way through. And I will say Captain America Civil War is a good, solid film. Next up is Doctor Strange. The movie, the MCU film that my opinion has changed about the most. When I first saw Doctor Strange, I did not like it at all. Watching it in more recent years, this movie is amazing. I love it. It's great. Now let's get into it. So Doctor Strange is about a man whose name, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, Dr. Stephen Strange, that's his name. That's where he gets the name Doctor Strange. So, aha! He's basically a surgeon, and after getting into a automobile accident, he messes up his hands. These are his hands. It's sad. So basically, he can't perform the surgeries anymore. He loses all of his money to try to fix his hands, and then he goes to Western medicine and learns of magic and newer dimensions, and learns of otherworldly beings and other things that are beyond his comprehension. And then he takes the cape, he learns the magic, and he becomes the hero that the multi-dimension, whatever. He becomes the hero that we need. And Doctor Strange was really good. When it comes to cinematography, this movie is very beautiful. With the buildings folding and stuff like that. The action scenes are amazing where they're jumping on the folding buildings and they're going through portals, going into other rooms. It's strange. It's very strange. And that's what I like about this movie. This movie accomplishes what its title suggests, that it's going to be a strange movie. But that's what makes it great. The characters are great. I actually buy the girlfriend and Doctor Strange's relationship. Oddly enough, I really buy it. The villain, again, is not very strong, but he's hardly in the movie. So, that doesn't bother me. Doctor Strange is a good ride all the way through. I loved it. It's a great film. That's what I'm giving it. It's a great film. So, yeah. So, guys, that was all for my marathon review this time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Next time, I'm going to be reviewing some other movies I can't remember the name of. Anyways, if you guys liked the video, make sure to subscribe today to join the Isaiahization.